When I was a kid and young teenager, I would go to my public library all the time to get manga. It's how I first really got started into anime in general. One that I always saw was Pluto. I had tried to read it a few times when I was like 13, but it was a bit too much for me then. It's a series I've always been aware of and curious of because I know that it is a reimagining of the Astro Boy series, or as it's known in Japan, Mighty Atom. The original Astro Boy manga was written by the grandfather of all manga, Osamu Tezuka. So with that legendary status of Astro Boy as being one of the key figures in all of manga and anime for that matter, doing a reimagining of something like that must be a daunting task, which is why it's amazing that they got Naoki Urasawa and Takashi Nagasaki to work on this. Now these two people have co-written previous series like Monster, which is widely hailed as one of the best thriller anime of all time, which I sadly haven't seen. It's on Netflix, I really want to watch it, and I hear it's amazing, but haven't gotten a chance to see it myself. What I do know though is that their work here in Pluto makes me even more excited to see Monster, because this is a spectacular story. Pluto follows a detective named Gesect, who on the outside appears to be human, but is actually a highly advanced robot. This robot detective is tasked with finding the culprit to a string of suspicious murders, all starting with the murder of the legendary robot Mount Blanc. Mount Blanc was a giant robot in Switzerland who helped take care of the Alps and was well known and beloved for their conservation and for their ability to help other people in their community. But they're also well known for their military service in the 39th Asian War, a war that bears striking and not so subtle similarities to the Iraq War, which was just getting started as Pluto was being published. Mont Blanc is one of the most powerful robots in the world, which is why it's so shocking when its head is found in the middle of a burned field with two sticks in the ground next to it, making it look like he has horns. After this, there's a string of other murders occurring as well. Pro-robot activists and top robot scientists all murdered with the same horns sticking out of their head as well. With these shocking developments, Gesect is then set on a globe-trotting mission around the world to try to find out who the killer is, along the way meeting a number of other powerful robots like Atom, Pluto's reimagining of Mighty Atom, or as we know him, Astro Boy. The series then takes a number of twists and turns from there that I can't adequately summarize in this review, and you really don't want me to really get into it. I want you to know this is going to be one of my strongest recommendations I've had in a very long time. I can't think of who this anime wouldn't be perfect for. The writing is razor sharp, as you would expect from such a lauded source material as Pluto. But along with that, it's really refreshing to see these character designs. Tezuko's work, the original Astro Boy creator, his characters always had these really funny noses and weird cartoonish designs that really stick out. And the reimagining that the Pluto team did with the manga really keeps the essence of those characters, the cartoonish style of them, the big round noses, but also elevates it and changes it for a more modern, serious tone. The animation is absolutely stellar, and there's a little bit of a nice blending with some 3D effects and 3D usage in the 2D animation, which I think there's going to be a gut instinct for people to react to that and the 3D effects and to have a negative view on that, but personally, I think it really added something, especially with the robotic sci-fi nature of the story. I think it really works to tie everything together. It has its own feel to it that's more like a mix between Western animation and anime-style animation. There's a nice blending going on that feels new. Because I unfortunately have not read Pluto myself, it's not possible for me to really compare what may have changed in this adaptation, but I can say that I was gripped throughout the entire 8 episodes. I was constantly wondering what was going to happen next, what the next turn was, what the answer is to all the questions that have been set up over and over throughout the story. And even when the story took its time away from the main plot, I was still enthralled with it, because this story is so human. Every single robot character is so perfectly done. I can't count the number of times where I've seen stories about AI or robots trying to understand what it is to be human. It's not a very uncommon concept, especially in sci-fi, and normally I roll my eyes at it. I don't really find much engaging about this kind of story, but Pluto was able to make it work in a way that really pulled at my heart. You can tell that the robot characters don't understand exactly what humans go through. A lot of them don't have the ability to. Their AI isn't advanced enough, but you still see that humanity in them, something about loss and grief and tragedy and understanding all of the pain that you're going through, even though you don't quite understand what pain is. I don't have words to explain how some of these stories, especially the story that happens at the end of episode 1 that I'm not going to really spoil for you, how hard that story hit me with North number 2. I love that. I loved it so much. I love every single second that I got to spend with these characters and understanding their perspective and their world. It made every twist and turn that much more compelling because I didn't want anything to happen to these characters because I cared about them so much. Its political messaging as well is incredibly relevant, especially in a time where we're witnessing such pain and suffering and horrors going on right now in Palestine. The 39th Asian War in Pluto is just the Iraq War. It just is what it is. The United States of Thracia, the United States of Thracia. The United States of Thracia accuses the Kingdom of Persia of having robots of mass destruction, which it's then found that they don't have robots of mass destruction, but a war is started anyways. A war that devastates the population, that kills so many innocent people for nothing, for in the end absolutely nothing except the benefit of the Western world, showing the inhumanity and the violence that occurs when Western imperialist forces decide that they're just going to destroy a kingdom. Well, in the real world, you have those same Western forces that Pluto criticizes currently engaged in supporting and funding a genocide going on in Palestine. Pluto is a piece that recognizes the world as the flawed, cruel place it can be, while also recognizing the beauty and humanity in people, and how people can try to bring joy and happiness to other lives, to be truly selfless for one another. And it's in doing that prevents it from getting dragged down into being gritty and realistic and edgy in these trappings that are all too common with anime and manga writers. It sees the world and it sees life for the complexity that it is, and it puts that into its work every single step of the way. All these episodes are at least 50 minutes long, all of them more close to an hour long. The first episode's about 70 minutes long. This entire series takes up 8 hours, and in those 8 hours, you travel all over the world, and you feel like you're really engaging with those cultures that exist, with the people that inhabit them, that you're really seeing different sides of the world, different sides of life, different perspectives of being, and asked to consider what that means, what it means to be a person, what it means to be alive, and what the value is in that. It's one of the best robot science fiction stories I've ever seen. That's not including just manga or anime ever. This is one of the best pieces of robot literature that I've ever seen. It's also really relevant because of how much AI is coming or is a big topic with people these days. And I will say here that I also watched this with the English dub, which is perfect. I never had a single moment in the English dub that took me out of it or felt weird. This is a really professional voice cast with some high quality work here, which you can tell because one of the big main characters later in the series, Dr. Tenma, is voiced by Keith David. Now, it's been a little bit since I've mentioned Keith David, but Keith David, if you've watched my They Live video, is one of my favorite actors just in general, and he's an incredible voice actor. You may know him from as Goliath from Gargoyles or Dr. Facilier in The Princess and the Frog, or a number of other voice roles. He is prolific both as a voice actor and also in some of the best John Carpenter movies that have ever been. But they got Keith David for this show, which I cannot appreciate enough because he is a marvelous talent, and that's true for up and down the cast. Everyone involved did stellar work. There is not a single person in the English voice cast who I would replace. I think they all did perfect. I could go on and on talking about this series, and as soon as I finished it, I knew I had to make a video as soon as I could. I can't wait to rewatch this show and show other people Pluto. If you're someone who wants hard sci-fi, if you want a thriller, if you like murder mysteries, if you just want a good story, something that's gonna make you think, Pluto is the one for you. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope you go and watch Pluto right now because I cannot say enough how much I enjoyed this show. Please leave a comment if you like this video, or if you've been inspired to watch it, or if you have thoughts on Pluto. I would love to hear what people have to say. I do want to say that leaving comments is one of the best things you can do to help support a video. Also like it if you like it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos similar to this. My next video is actually going to be an India vlog. I said that in the last video that I was going to do an India vlog next, but then Pluto came out and I had to review that real quick. So be sure to give Pluto a watch. Keep an eye out for my India vlog. Subscribe, comment, do all that things, and I hope you have a great day, a great night, or whatever it is you're having, and stay rad.